In the mind of my father, making toys was no mere occupation, but the very honour of his life. He had devoted his time and effort over the last 3 decades to producing beautiful wooden toys that were carved by hand, in a time when Great Britain was teeming with factories, automation, and the great smog of progress. In a time when the Industrial Revolution threatened to crush the humble craftsman beneath its mechanical wheels, my father had continued to produce traditional dolls and soldiers and delighted the children of foggy old London town. His prized creations and the envy of many admirers were his fairy catchers. A long wooden pole housed a looped net at one end with a rudimentary catch that snapped a wooden lid down on the net once you'd caught your prey. Most children used the fairy catchers to trap spiders and butterflies, but my father always assured them that should they ever spy a fairy, the fairy catcher would do that job just right. I was 10 years old at the time, and growing out of dolls and soldiers, just as father received the most important letter of his life. It arrived with pomp and fanfare, delivered by a brigade of 7 horsemen who could barely range themselves on the filthy, narrow street outside our home. The leader of this band proclaimed that he had arrived with a commission for toys from the greatest lady of our land, Empress of India, the great and benevolent Queen Victoria of England. News spread like wildfire of my father's great achievement, and people were arriving to congratulate him even before the brigade and the fanfare had dispersed. Once he had bid goodbye and thanks to those clamouring crowds outside, he beckoned me to join him in his workshop. We closed our shutters to the whole world, just he and I there, and I nibbled at my nails as father perused the Queen's letter with interest. Elation turned to utter horror in a matter of minutes. Father's fierce brows drooped over the words. I gasped when he threw the letter to the ground, wearing it into the stone floor with the sole of his rough shoe. "Do you know what she asks of me, child?" he demanded, with this roaring kind of anger. "This majesty of ours asks for Clockwork toys. She does not appreciate my craftsmanship or respect her most loyal subject. Clockwork, indeed. The very thought of it abhors me." I knew that my father had no experience whatsoever of clockwork toys, but my young eyes widened with terror as I spied that trodden-on letter. "But father," I pleaded with fearful innocence, "surely you cannot refuse a message from the Queen. Her Majesty must be given what she deserves." My father had been halfway out of the workshop door as I spoke, but something in my words stilled his pace. He turned and viewed me with gleaming, thoughtful eyes, and they were bright with ideas that I did not yet understand. "What she deserves." He repeated it, his voice barely louder than a sigh. "Yes, indeed, child. I can certainly give her that." A month passed in which I barely saw my father at all. In the day, I tended the household duties with my mother, and father locked himself away in his workshop to answer the Queen's wishes. Every night I slept fitfully in my bed, and I heard the outer door opening and closing every time father made one of his trips out into the night. Of the 30 nights that passed by, he ventured out on 24, and he was gone for hours on each trip. It made me yearn for the days when I had watched him carve and paint in his shop, for now its wooden shutters were closed, even to me, his favourite customer. Each night of the month, I prayed that soon the Queen's commission would be over, and I praised the Lord on high the day that I got my wish. It were better I had praised the devil instead, for I am certain it was he who heard my pleas. The Clockwork toys will be collected in the morning for Her Majesty. My father proclaimed this bold news as he joined us unexpectedly for dinner. In seeing the exhausted triumph on his face, I rushed to embrace him, and he ruffled my hair with a sigh. I am all yours again, my sweet wife and child, and tomorrow we shall go to the countryside to celebrate my success. Mother had quite often promised me that the Queen's reward would provide us with luxuries such as holidays, but she looked as shocked as I did at the news of our sudden departure. That night we packed a few belongings for the trip, and I was still organising my things late at night when Father came to tuck me into bed. "What on earth are you packing, child?" he asked. A tight but jovial grin sat upon his face as he watched me scramble back into my bed. I clutched an old fairy catcher to my chest over the blankets. My eyes gleamed with joy and excitement, the kind that only youth provides. "I have to take a catcher," I told my father with all certainty. "The countryside must be the perfect place to catch a fairy." "So is the city," my father crooned, "if you know the right places to look." He tapped to the very tip of my nose and blew out the candle by my bedside. As he carried his own light from the room, a final question hovered on my lips. "Father, may I see the Clockwork toys tomorrow, before they go to the Queen?" My father's eyes glowed like coal embers over the candle flame. In the wake of the night's shadows, I saw every deep and furrowed wrinkle of tiredness upon his face. "No, my child," he answered me in a whisper. "You may never see the toys from this commission. They must only go to she who requested them." Hi all, it's me, Mr. Breakdown, and you've been watching part 1 of this week's 2-part story, The Clockwork Imps, which is another one from my steampunk collection. We've had a few steampunks mixed in, we haven't had one for a little while, so I thought we'd bring it back this week. But you know the kind of spiel that I'm going to talk about. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much for your comments on like the vibe and the atmosphere of the videos and what you're enjoying watching and stuff. It's really nice to know how different things are resonating with different people, so that's always good fun. And yeah, Patreon, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook even now, I've decided. Still not TikTok. Still not TikTok, no. Don't think I'm ready for it. Don't think my mind is ready to be blown by the platform. We'll see. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to bringing you the next one on Drag King Horror Storytime, MBD style. See you then.